World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Hey, what's happening?
Okay. Hello. Hope all is well. I had to check my mic. As I was saying, we're getting close. Spring, summer is almost on its way, and that this is my time of year. I suffered this year. It was cold. It hadn't been that cold in a long time, so I'm looking forward for the summer. What also happens during this time of year, different types of projects and entertainment opportunities take place. As president of the Harlem Tourism Board, we just had a meeting, and this summer is going to be very busy. There's going to be a lot of things that's happening here. One in particular, the 40th anniversary of WHCR. And for many of you who may not be aware, WHCR is the voice of Harlem. And I'm happy to say I was involved with the development of WHCR over a period of time and was really influential in getting the then general manager, Angela Harden, to get paid. She was a professor. They weren't paying her for doing that, but received funding from a grant that was developed. And that is what really started making it happen. What's important now is that this 40th anniversary, we are starting to look at the community that we serve and asking them, as all radio stations do that are public, to contribute to help us continue to do the things that we are doing. Uh, I'm happy that Soul City gave WCR a platform during the pandemic, and I'm also happy that we were able to remain. So actually, the Urbanology show uh, has a has a radio audience and a streaming TV audience. So again, the pandemic was, well, there's a lot of questions about what it really was, but a lot of people had to pivot, and pivot is growth. So a lot of things, there's a yin and yang in everything. But when we talk about entertainment, my guest for today is a young lady that is extremely talented. And one of the great things about this show is that a lot of stuff is documented. I being part of the second Harlem Renaissance, which was the theme of the first Harlem Day in 1974, I've kind of seen development over the years. It's been 52 years. And I'm looking at now the third Harlem Renaissance coming to happen. And this summer will show that with all of the different activities and hotels and all of the things that are taking place. This young lady that I've seen grow and develop will be part of those leaders in the arts in the third Harlem Renaissance. She's a playwright, producer, and there's a host of things that I would like you to see, because this is historic. As we move into the years to come, people will be able to look back and see people as they were now and who they are years from now. So please give a welcome to Samantha Byam.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Tony, for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for being who you are. So uh, tell the listeners who you are and how you got here. And as I was saying before, what you're saying, if we're lucky, 30 or 40 years from now, people will say, "Wow, how did she get to where she is?" So you are where you are now, and I
Mhm.
know with your talent, years from now, people will know that name and your company. So speak to them like a time capsule of what brought you to uh, where you are now, which will project you to where I'm sure you're going to be in the future.
Okay. Um, wow, that's a powerful question. You know, when you're younger, I think you automatically know what your gift is. I think what you're naturally good at, it just is a gift from, if you believe in God, I believe God has gifted me with the power of storytelling. So ever since I was a little girl, I would always write stories. My mother would say I would bring her stories every single time, asking her to listen to this story, listen to that. So it was just a gift that superseded me as a person. And how I actually got into theater, because I studied marketing in school, and I was like, okay, how am I going to use marketing when I'm actually writing? But how I got into theater was my church, Ephesus Seventh Day Adventist Church in Harlem. They were turning 90 years in the community, and we were a part of the the committee that was leading the 90th anniversary. Somebody asked me to put on a play for the 90th anniversary, and so I wrote a play called The Perfect Christian, and it was well received by everybody in the audience. So much so that one of the people who were in the cast told me I need to hone my skill, and the pastor told me I needed to hone my skill a little bit more because I was gifted, but I never went to school for it. So he took me to New Federal Theater, which was then led by the great Woody King Jr., and I had to
Mhm.
learn under uh, playwrights like Cassandra, Michael, a couple of other playwrights, and it really allowed me to understand the art of playwriting. From then, I started to continue to work on my plays, producing them at my church, then at the Dempsey Theater, and now we're coming back with the Return of the Bachelor Pad at the Schomburg, which I'll go a little bit more deeper into. But that was my journey. It was just a gift when I was a little kid to now using that gift to tell others, share with others messages that can impact them for the better, for the greater good.
There are some other things that you do, Samantha, that usually are not highlighted because you're always promoting what you're doing now. But give we've worked together, but tell us some of the community-based organizations, some of the things or businesses that you have been working with over the years.
Over the years, I've done a lot over there. I feel like I've lived a couple of lifetimes, but I guess I could say now, right now, I'm working with the Department of Youth and Community Development. I'm a digital storyteller, and that's a really prominent role because the stories that I push out to from the city agency is impactful for youth to understand what it is that we do. So we fund a lot of programs for the youth in the community, such as Summer Youth Employment Program. There's Saturday Night Lights. There are summer risings. There's so much stuff that I'm doing when it comes to storytelling, not just with theater, but when it comes to content creation, video production. And that's presently, but like I said, I've done so much with Parks and Recreation. I've done so much with um, even in the travel industry with different organizations, religious organizations. I've lived a couple lifetimes. I'm trying to remember, but yeah.
Well, I see you in probably directing movies and plays and all of those types of things because that's something that you, as you indicated, that was why you were here. I believe the powers to be, God, the mind of the universe, however you label that entity that you believe that is greater than you, uh, there's always a plan. you know,
Mhm.
we all, our conversations, the things that we do, sometimes we look at them as being coincidences, but I tend to believe that there's a journey that we all take.
Mhm.
And depending upon the frequency, you will attract certain people based on the frequency that you're putting out there. Uh, and what happens is that I've been blessed to be able to connect with people like yourself. I mean, I I just interviewed actually, and they'll probably be playing now. Tamiko Evans, who's one of the leaders of the new Harlem Week team, and and the Marco Nobles and those individuals. So it allows for me to really feel I have a great deal of gratitude to learn from the things that you do, but also to share things that I've gone through over the years in the marketing and the networking and meeting of people. You meet a lot of people if you do something consistent for 50 years, in the
Mhm.
community. I was saying it's interesting that for the last 50 years, because we're going into the 52nd year. And I'm sure that I'll be there on Harlem Day, but then again, I may be in Ghana. We have to talk about that. But the bottom line is for at least the first 51 years of my life, or the 51 years in my life, the third Saturday in August, I knew exactly what I was doing.
Mhm.
I was in the process of developing this program, consistently without a break. Every third Sunday, God was happy. Was That was what I was supposed to be doing, and that has allowed for me to obtain the knowledge and the abilities to see uh, talent. And plus, I have an energy that's my ancestors put me into the mountains and gave me understanding of how to read and feel energy and that type of stuff. So uh, I can feel the energy of people. And when I first met you, I could feel that energy, and it was something that I, whenever I can, however I can, would want to not only help you but allow for other people to understand what you do. Tell us about the play. Tell us what came to that, and I guess you got to give commercials because you can't tell the whole story. But you know, tell us
Yeah.
the segment that will make people want to come and see it, and some of that stuff.
A little snippet. So,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I created the Bachelor Pad is because I felt like nowadays a lot of the storytelling uh, are female led. So every show that was coming out, female cast, leading females, and I wanted to challenge myself to kind of write for the males from a male's perspective. But I also, during the pandemic, I had a guy friend. We would talk a lot, and he kind of shared with me that one of his friends had a place that was his own on the side, and he could do whatever he wanted with it. Bells went off in my mind, and I said, you know what, that would be a fantastic story. So I thought to myself, what if I create a place and I have, okay, I have to have characters, four guys. What do they want with this place? What do they do there? And so, in a short little synopsis, it's just four men turn a penthouse into a playground, but learn the uncomfortable truths about themselves. They go through, you know, self identity, learning about themselves, temptation, loyalty, trust, all um, the emotions that men really go through. And a lot of times there's no outlet for them to really share how they feel. So this place is a place for the men. And a lot of drama, a lot of comedy. It's like a movie that is unraveling right on the stage. And it was so well received that they want us to bring it right back. And people who have seen it November 15th of last year are coming right back again April 18th. It's a fun time. It is a fun time. Yeah.
Well, again, one of the things that I guess is a foundation of our African ancestry is our genes are a product of what and where we came from. And as you know, storytelling uh, was basically how information came. The elders would tell the stories, and that's how some of the information would take place. Now, sometimes, depending on who was on top, the story might have have slanted as far as who did what and when, but
Hmm.
the idea is the word of mouth. The storyteller, and it was also in music. We tend to connect to things and not aware of exactly where that connection is because there's something greater than us. There's a spirit. We're Africans, and I always say that we're not black, we're not African American, we're not Negroes, we're Africans, Africans born in America. And until we are able to really understand what that means, we will not truly understand our power and our abilities and the things that we have that have been swallowed what you have is that gift, and that gift is ancestral to be able to allow for. And I've seen your plays, and you're able to tap into stuff that people don't want to tap into and kind of make it. It's almost, again, in comedy is similar, and that's part of what we talk about. You can talk about things in a humorous way, but it's educational.
Yeah.
And you being a church lady, I know that the bottom line, I know what your message is always is love and
Yeah.
a certain amount of understanding who we really are.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's important and it's critical to the mission of Byam House. Is it's always based off of faith and love, like you said. Like I started off in a church. I love God. I know what God has done for me, and a lot of times this is my platform. So I don't have a pulpit, but the messages that I share with the audience are based rooted in, like you said, like love and all the important things that people go through and how they overcome these trials and struggles. Um, so I do that is very important. I do wanna share that with everyone.
And it's two things, which, well, there's more, but two important things is love and is truth.
Mm,
Because what happens is that to truly love somebody is to accept them as to who they are.
mm,
And the truth does not always, because we live a falsehood. And sometimes there are certain situations or certain things that force us to be who we really are in order to survive. Because that fake us, after a period of time is fake. We have to
yeah.
be real in order to understand how to survive. And that's what I see in what you do.
All I'll say is come to the bachelor pad. Once you step in the pad, you'll understand. We touch on all those topics is staying true to who you are. And I can't wait for you to see it. It's gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna be
Tell
phenomenal.
tell us how we can get tickets and where it's going to be and all of that. We'll get back into some things about I want to ask you, but let's let people know how they can get to the show.
You can buy tickets on Eventbrite. And so it's thebachelorpad.eventbrite.com. You can also go to my website, vimehouse.com, and right on the top, you can go to the link to purchase tickets.
And what's the date again?
The date is Saturday, April 18th. Doors open
Hmm.
at 6:30. Show starts at 7. I think we're gonna have a pre-show at 6:30. Get the audience warmed up a bit to what's about to happen. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's next for you? What are you looking to do after this production?
It's a good question. After this production, I'm definitely gonna have some more productions towards the later end of the year, especially
Hmm.
in the new year. So I definitely want to continue putting out productions that inspire and impact the community. But I also want to teach people about storytelling. And I think
Mm,
that's my most immediate, my next move. Let's see.
that's
Hmm.
interesting. And it ties into some of the other things that uh, I'm looking at doing. At some point, as the Harlem tourism industry, tourism and hospitality grows, I see a need to allow for young people, people who live in the community, to learn about the community to the point where they can make it a business as far as helping as tour guides, working with the museums, working with the different entities in the Greater Harlem area. The Greater Harlem area, the community boards 9, 10, and 11, and 12. That area has a population that would make it the 26th largest city in the country, a population larger than Miami.
Wow.
And if that concept could be developed, we have a city within the city concept. It means that your play, WACR, all of these entities, if promoted correctly and touching the different levels that people get to in a certain city, such as Miami, the market share, the listenership, the viewership can grow tremendously because you're in a city within a city. It's just finding ways to allow for those persons at Community Board 9 to know what people in Community Board 10 is doing, what in Community Board 11, what Community Board 12 is doing. And if that type of chemistry could develop, it will be an economic development opportunity for the Greater Harlem area. And one of the parts, as I was listening to you, that I think would be if we have classes to help young people learn how to be tour guides, is storytelling. To be able to take the knowledge in what you have and tell the story, because this is a historic community.
Yeah.
And I could see in putting, because and why I'm saying is there's a young lady who's 17 years old that sent me a proposal. She wanted to develop a way to get young people into being tour guides, to develop training programs for young people. She has a cadre, Gen Z people, that she says we can find a way to allow for them to be trained and to go through all of the processes necessary, even to get licenses. That could be our own economic development opportunity if we tie in with the museums, the city within the city, all of the different things that are happening to be able to do that. I see you as being part of whatever that training will be to allow for people to understand exactly what you were talking about, the art of telling the story.
Yeah. You have to learn how to tell a story. I think that's one of the ways that
That's
is the way to captivate anybody, is how to
right.
tell a great story. And I think we've lost the art of storytelling because everything right now is just instant gratification. So it's like, how do you just, consume and tell something, jokes and entertainment, but how do you tell quality stories that could really impact generations to come?
hmm
That's the most important thing.
And it's easy. I mean, and some of our best, let's say, comedians, for instance, the Dave Chappelle's, the Richard Pryor, they understood how to tell a story
Hmm.
and bring the sense out of it. But you know where that comes from? I was raised in the South, and the elders could tell some stories. I got a little bit of my. I mean, I could tell some stories too. We've come up, and it really did not dawn on me to talking to you as far as how much that is in our system. I've
Mm.
I've grown up with people telling some stories. Some of them were not true. Some of them was a little inflated. Some of them was about people's business, but the storytelling of it, could last. I've heard of people. I've never done it. Will be on the phone for hours
Yeah.
telling stories.
Yeah.
And
Even when
talking.
you come home, even when you
Yeah.
come home from school, the first thing your parent says, "How was your day?" And so now you're telling the story of what transcended throughout the day. And when you go to bed, let me read you a bedtime story. Everything is the art of storytelling.
I guess it's a yin and yang because if you could tell a good story and you're not and you're a bad actor,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of that too. I guess it's just like anything else. I mean, it's it's not the weapon; it's the person behind the weapon.
That is true.
But the
That is true.
idea is that if you can tell a convincing story, and it's an art. A lot of people, some people are like you. Some people are born into that. I would like to think that a lot of Africans born in America, Africans born in the Caribbean,
Mm,
instinctively have that ability. But
mhm.
other than the teaching, I mean, where would you do that? Is there an organization or is there something that you're looking through with your company? Let's talk a little bit about your company. But where would the teaching be?
I'm still trying to figure out some things. I think once I finish with the bachelor pad, I want to focus a little bit more on that. So I'm still deciding, but I definitely want to partner with some organizations in Harlem because community is everything, and that's where I'm from. Born and raised in Harlem, so yeah, born and raised in Harlem. Mhm.
And help me. You did some things with with was it with Harlem Week? What did we work on? What There were a couple of things that we were working on, and as I get older, sometimes I get gray. Tell me.
I feel like we've done a couple things together. I think I helped with Harlem Week one time. I've helped. Um, I've done a couple of things, a lot of things, even when it came to what was it? The when the Christmas lights happened on 125th Street.
Right.
So
That was some time ago. Yeah, that
yeah.
Jackie Orange was the person that did that. Uh,
Hmm.
Unfortunately, she moved to Chicago, so we couldn't continue that.
Hmm.
But the thing is that when I was doing different projects, I always noticed that in some form of fashion you would pop up.
It's got to be something I'm promoting, something
I
I'm
don't
doing.
know. I mean, but it was an attraction that I was saying, wow, you know, I think the last time I experienced that is that the pickleball. We were in the park dealing with pickleball, and Richard Cox, has that tournament coming up, and we were talking. Of all of a sudden, you came up and you know all of the people, and I said, "Wow, they're,
I'm an avid pickleball player.
yeah,
Love pickleball.
do you?
I
You play?
love pickleball. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Do you go to that spot often?
Yeah, the guy who organized it, who started, his name is Jerry. Phenomenal guy. Actually, you should probably have him on too. He
Yeah, I've
started.
been trying to get Jerry, but he it's hard. So Richard is when you see Jerry, let him know that I would like to talk to him because pickleball has grown. I mean, my knees aren't what they used to be, so
Hmm. Hmm.
but I see how it has grown. You know, and there's some. I was watching somebody, and they're serious.
They are, but the reason why I think I love what Jerry does is because it exposes the community, the African American community, to experiences or sports they've never even thought of. So when you
Mhm.
think of Harlem, we're always playing basketball or we're always doing something that, that our culture usually does. But pickleball, he introduced a lot of African Americans to playing and understanding and just having a really good time. So you'll see people who you wouldn't even think would play pickleball or playing pickleball right over at the park. And the most important thing for me as well is exposing the community to stories, to new experiences like pickleball.
Mhm.
So that's important.
Well, Richard Cox, who you met at, Richard Cox, through his organization, was able to get funding to allow for the pickleball project to expand and grow. Richard has a number of different organizations under his Unity Tours, Rucker,
Hmm.
the pickleball, the Father's Day race, and a number of other different things. So it kind of again gives exposure to the tourism because all of
Hmm.
those entities, including, have a direct relationship with tourism. Even with this broadcast and sending it to many people, it creates an interest, and people will know your name, Samantha. That's important because your work is really interesting, and you've talked about uh, how that has come to you from an early age. Can
Hmm.
you tell us anything about the characters without exposing too much? Or
Definitely.
how you selected those particular characters, whether it was from real experiences or just things that came to you
Definitely.
inspiration?
Before I should shout out to Richard because Richard does have the vision to see Jerry and what he's doing. I've even spoken to Richard about, theater stuff, and he's seen the vision that I have. So shout out to Richard for understanding what people are trying to do in the community. And then to touch on the characters, four different men. They all are in this pad learning about themselves, but I'll say the main character, his name is Jason. He is a person who is in love, and you'll see how his character kind of changes from the good guy to the bad guy. It's a formula when it comes to writing, but
Mm,
he goes from good to bad. Certain situations happen to him. Then you have Dwayne, Jason, and Dwayne. They are best friends from college. You have Ezekiel, who is married, and he has his share of time in the pad. And then you also have Connor, who is uh, the rich African American male and is trying to understand himself as well. So every person can see themselves in these characters and take away something from it. And the men that came to the pad, they were like, wow, like brought them to tears because they saw themselves. So the most important thing for me is when I'm writing is authenticity, how to be real. And I actually, this came about from one of the classic films, The Wood, Juice.
mm.
Um, these are some of my favorite films. Set It Off, So I dabble in a lot of different things and I mix it together and put my own spin on it. So you'll see. It's gonna be fun. You see how it is after on April 18th.
Well, I think that the interesting thing is your ability to. I mean, in listening to you, uh, it's it's this art, it's this gift. I could be talking to someone who's in music or someone who's an artist, and you are an artist. When you have a passion for something, it allows for the energy to flow. And I am happy that I was able to be in your orbit, because it's good to see how you approach these things, and of course storytelling. I had not put that category into an area that you have done, but now I can do that because I have a better understanding of how generic it is in Africans born in America as far as telling stories, making people laugh, making people. I also know the importance of telling stories about the things that we don't want to talk about, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, things that used to be hidden, whether it was gender issues or a lot of different types of things that, you know, mental illness, a lot of things that we knew. We had an uncle, we had a friend, or whatever but that was kind of like something that we didn't talk about. Even at one point, and I was growing up, even pregnancy, you know, a young lady on the block got pregnant, she would have to go down south for a year and come
You know,
back with her cousin.
yeah. It's interesting you say that because it's very true. So like I was sharing earlier, I got my start in the church. And one of the issues that I'm having with the church, love the church, but it's like, where's the realness of it? So you'll go to church and you'll listen, and maybe this might be a topic that is just I'm going off the deep end, but where is the realness when you go to church? You know, you listen to the pastor and you hear all these good things, but then you go right back home and you're involved in the same it's real life.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so that's why my mission is the stuff that are taboo that the church won't talk about. I got to bring that to the forefront because this
Hmm.
is what people are really dealing with. And how do I use that faith based theme to then share with them? This is how you overcome addiction, or this is how you overcome loneliness or depression, or whatever it is that people really go through. I put that in my story and I take them on a journey. You will be on a journey when you see these shows.
Which is the art of it, and it's a very interesting art, Samantha, that allows for people to see themselves through the eyes of others and vice versa. As your talent has shown, you have the sensitivity to talk about these things in a way that is not judgmental, it's more educational. you know,
Yeah.
and I think that that's extremely important, and it's an art. And I have to tell you, I I never understood you as I understand you now. And what your gift is storytelling. I knew that you had a talent of producing and putting these things together and making them happen. But this conversation has allowed for me to understand that even greater than I would expect, because I knew that you were going to always do wonderful things. I started off with that comment based on what I knew then. But now, what I know now, I realize that uh, your abilities will allow for you to affect a lot of people, and that's a wonderful thing, you know.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
tell everyone again how they can get tickets.
They can get tickets at Eventbrite, thebachelorpad.eventbrite.com, or they can go to my website, Byam House, www.byamhouse.com, and you'll see
Mhm.
the link right on the homepage.
Okay, and that's on the 18th, and we'll kind of keep you, you know, follow. We'll follow some of the things you do. Matter of fact, you should give Marco Noble. You met Marco Noble at the event, right?
I think I met him briefly, but I could be,
Yeah,
yeah,
you should. You should. You know, the whole idea of the tourism board event was the network,
mhm.
and Marco is now the chairperson of Harlem Week. There may be certain types of interfaces that, whether they're programs or what have you, but what I would like to follow up with you with is this concept of storytelling and teaching young people how to storytell, whether it's through the tourism component or just
Mhm.
through a program. Because I think you're right. We do it, but there's an art to it, and if we understand the art to it, it comes natural because we do it anyway, and it allows for
Mhm.
us to, whether it's talking about ourselves or going on
Mhm.
interviews or maybe getting out of trouble. It allows for
Yeah.
us
Yes.
to have some skills, and I never really saw it that way, and I'm glad that we've had this conversation because it allowed for me to see more of you than, and I saw. Always believed that there was some special things going on with you, But now I have a better understanding of that chemistry, of that ancestral thing, as far as being a person that can tell a good story, which is very important. And for those who are listening, um, I would suggest that you you the proof is in the pudding, as they say. We 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 can talk until the cows come home, but hopefully, matter of fact, not even hopefully, we don't want to put hope in it. We will get some new fans for you, Samantha. Some
I
new
appreciate it.
people to understand the things that you do and your gift, so we can all grow together. And the Schaumburg, well, that's going to be an interesting venue to
Shout out
play.
to Schomburg for having me. One person in particular, he's seen the vision, like Richard sees the vision in other people. It just takes that one person to see the vision. And Tony, you as well, you see the vision. So thank you too for everything from the start, from when you seen me years ago to believing in me now. I appreciate it deeply.
Well, I think it's the same. One of the things that I always believed is that if you are blessed in being in a position to be able to help, that then becomes your responsibility to pay gratitude to that blessing. And through my life, I've been able to be over the years in a positions in the greatest community, the greater Harlem area, to grow and develop in that area. And the blessing would be to be able to help people like you and see you grow and because that's what happened to me. I mean, that was how we were able to, myself, the Lord Williams of the world. um, there were people who saw something in us and gave us some opportunities, and that's exactly what's happening here. So, Samantha, your company, before I let you go, tell us a little bit about your company and the focus of it.
Yeah, so Byam House Entertainment, which I might change to Byam House Media because of where the world is going. It's a paradigm shift in what's happening and what's about to happen. Um, the mission was simple, just to tell stories that were faith based, that impacted and motivated and inspired. But what I want to do is to create conglomerate of different things. I think I might even do it. I actually will begin a nonprofit just to continue storytelling through every single medium, online, theater, film. There's so many things that take place when it comes to so many avenues to go. So overall, the mission of Byam House is, in its simplicity, tell great stories. You know, Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, one of the largest YouTubers, his
Hmm.
vision is tell great, uh, to have the best videos possible. Simple, tell great stories, and that's where Byam House, that's the mission.
Well, again, I am happy to have been able to, over the years, support you. I will continue to do that. And I look forward to seeing you grow and allow for people to understand and appreciate that skill that we all have.
Hmm.
I can, it makes me again think about my past and sitting and hearing the stories as a youngster. Some stories they would have to tell me to leave because I wasn't supposed to hear them. But it was always something that that was before the telephone. We didn't have all of this stuff. So a lot of our entertainment was talking and talking about things, maybe the past, or talking about, different types of things as far as entertainment. So I'm glad that we've had this chance to talk. has allowed for me to gain even a greater appreciation of your art, which is storytelling. And we should talk about how we can that teaching thing. There's something with that I think that may be helpful, especially with the tourism board stuff. But and we haven't talked about Ghana, and at some point we need to talk about that because that
You're you have to be interviewed because you're iconic in terms of it's so many stuff I want to ask you, Tony. It's like, what have you seen with people from taking people from America over to Ghana? How have they changed? How did it impact them? So there's a lot to ask you as well.
there's a lot of interesting things about that, and at some point that could even be an interesting story as it relates to how a group of people. Well, we'll talk about that, but
Yeah.
the different issues that we have here and putting them into another country like Ghana with their different issues, and I could I could see an interesting story about that. But nevertheless, uh, that is something that we should talk about at some point. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So again, April 18th,
Yeah.
Schaumburg.
Schomburg.
Um,
We're gonna
thank you
have a
so
good
much.
time. You're welcome.
All right. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you.
And
Bye.
it's at what time is it? 6:30, right? Doors open.
Doors open 6:30. 6:30. Show starts at 7 p.m. Saturday, April 18th.
Okay. All right. Take care,
All
my
right.
dear. Talk to you
Bye.
again. Uh, again, I always like to thank Matt McCoy and the Soul City team for allowing for us to record history. We've talked with so many different types of people, the mayors, my friend Lloyd. We've talked to a lot of different people, and you could hear about what they're doing in their own voice. And the third Harlem Renaissance will be, in my view, interesting because you won't have to read about them. You won't have to hear you hear the stories, obviously, and there will be research as to who they are, but you will be able to hear them speak and see who they are based on what programs such as Urbanology under the Soul City Network will allow for that to happen. And I'm just happy and have a great deal of gratitude to be able to have some sort of a footprint in that education as to where we are at this point. Harlem is one of the greatest communities, in my view, uh, in America as far as urban communities are concerned. And it's had a lot of history. I'm just happy to have played a part of it and still playing a part of it in some kind of way. But at least a lot of that now can be put into programs like this where people can see what is taking place. So thank you for listening. Hopefully, I got to stop using hopefully because I, I was doing meditation and I got this voice, they come to you and, and so correct yourself and not use hopefully, speak it as it is. Next week we'll have a good show, and hope I will see you. I got to get that hope out of you next week. Take care.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.